Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm happy to see everyone here today. I'm so glad that so many people are already greeting us on the chat box. Good morning. A lot of people are already saying hi. Good morning from Delta State. Good morning from Lagos. Good morning from London. We are grateful that you have decided to join us this morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome again to the FirstBank SMEConnect webinar. It's so good to be back again. My name is Olajumoke Oladipo, Team Lead, SME Engagement and Advisory at FirstBank. And it is my pleasure again to be your moderator for today's session. And I will be your partner throughout this session, guiding the conversation, keeping things interactive, and ensuring that every SME here walks away with clear insights and practical, actionable steps you can implement immediately. Thank you so much for joining us. The theme for today's edition is funding your growth, how SMEs can access finance and scale faster. This theme is specially curated to commemorate the International MSME Day, celebrated globally on June 27. The theme tackles one of the biggest barriers SMEs face, and we all know what this barrier is, access to finance and the ability to scale sustainably. So, I've got good news for you. We don't want you to just be the only one to figure it out by yourself. We have highly experienced experts with us today who are ready to share practical, real world guidance you can apply immediately to your business. So, all I want you to just do today is sit back, stay engaged, and get ready to take notes because this session is designed with you in mind. So, before we start, I want you to call someone, call a partner, call a colleague, call a friend. Tell at least two people to join us. I want everyone to be a part of this session because it's going to be impactful and insightful. And while we wait, let me just say hi to our audience that are already chatting me up here. I want you to tell me where you're chatting from, where you're joining us from. I can see Blessing from Abuja. I can see oh, quite a number. Okay, I can see someone calling us from joining us from Port Harcourt here. I can see Adele Victor from Abakaliki. Thank you so much for joining. I can see David from Abuja. I can see Felix from Lagos and Daniel from Castina. I can see someone from Spain. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. And we have someone joining us even from Oshogbo. We have someone from New York. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I don't want you to be the only one joining this. I want you to call someone, chat someone, let them all be here. Let them be a part of this insightful session. Thank you so much. I can see Tutun Lade from Ogun State. I can see Shola from Lagos. I can see Mohammed from Maduguri. I can see Ebimo from Warri. And I can see Johnny from United United Kingdom. Thank you very much. And I can see Innocent from Benue, Yakubu from Nasarawa. Thank you everyone for joining. We are glad to have you here today. And it's going to be an impactful session today, and we don't want anyone to miss. So we want you to ensure that all your business associates, everyone that is doing one business or the other, gather here, join to ensure that they get all that they need to scale their business. We are truly delighted to have you join us, and we appreciate the time that you have chosen to spend with us today. So I do not waste too much time, we have a lot for you. I will hand over now to the host of today's session, Helen Willie, who is the head SME Banking FirstBank. Thank you very much, Helen. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jumoke, for the opening remark, and welcome our audience once again. The SME Connect webinar series is intentionally designed to empower SMEs with the knowledge, tools, and strategic connections required to thrive in today's fast-paced and highly competitive business environment. More than just a learning platform, this session serves as a catalyst for growth, providing relevant insights, practical guidance, and direct access to industry experts. all tailored to the realities of the Nigerian market. This Q2 edition of the SME webinar is purposefully focused on equipping SMEs with the clarity, confidence, and capability to access financing and position their business for sustainable growth. We recognize that financing is not just a support function, but a critical enabler. Without the right funding, even the most promising ideas cannot scale or endure. In commemoration of the International MSME Day on June 27th, and in alignment with the 2026 global theme, the future generation of MSMEs, this session is driven by a clear objective, which is to strengthen the resilience of today's SMEs, while also laying a solid foundation for the next generation. Our goal as First Bank is to empower businesses not just to survive, but to grow, scale, and remain competitive over the long term. At First Bank, we firmly believe that SMEs are central to economic growth and national development. This is why the entire month of June has been dedicated to celebrating spotlighting their impact. As a demonstration of this commitment, the CEO of First Bank, Mr. Olusegun Alebiosu, will deliver the opening remarks for today's session, underscoring the bank's unwavering support for the growth and empowerment of medium, small, and large entrepreneurs. So, MD, you are welcome, and over to you, sir. Yeah, MD, over to you. You're welcome to take the opening remarks, sir.
Yes, Helen and if you can get right.
Yes,
Is
MD,
it
we can
bright
hear
and
you.
you can see me? Okay, thank you so much,
Yes, we can see you, sir.
colleagues, for this. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can see you and we can hear you.
Okay, excellent. So thank you so much for this webinar, and I'm sure you must have read my mind so well that SME is on top of my mind. It's on top of the agenda. And that everything we are doing now is to see how we double down on SME, and connecting with SME is one of the best things that can happen at this time, because SME control the economy. And if we don't double down on SME as an institution, we will miss it. So I'm glad to be here, and I'll be part of this conversation. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you
Ellen?
very much. Thank you very much, MD. Thank you so much for. MD, are you still talking?
No, I've finished. I've handed over back to you.
All right, thank you very much, MD, for your opening remarks. So, Jumoke, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Ellen, and thank you very much, CEO. We are glad to have you. It shows how important SMEs are, even to First Bank. So the time has come. It is time for us to start this session that will make each and every of us grow in our business and scale. Again, I'm glad that you have decided to spend this time with us, and I promise you that you will not regret it. So I will go ahead now to invite our guest speaker. Our guest speaker is none other than an economist, chartered accountant, and finance professional with over 35 years of experience. The experience that she had gained both internally and both internationally and in Nigeria, and a strong track record of performance. She served as Nigeria's Minister of Finance from November 2015 to September 2018 and was the chairman of the board of African Export-Import Bank, that's Afrexim during her tenure. Prior to that, she was Commissioner for Finance, Ogun State Government. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Applied Economics from the University of East London, a postgraduate diploma in Public Financial Management from the University of London, and a Master's in Public Administration from the London School of Economics. She's also a chartered accountant, qualified with the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales and the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Nigeria. She's the founder of Me Foundation, a social enterprise registered in Nigeria, the UK, and the US that mobilizes resources for indigenous charities with a focus on orphaned and vulnerable children, youth, and women. She's also the founder of Neither City, the definitive platform that gives Nigerian entrepreneurs the inspiration, knowledge, and tools to build serious businesses. Beyond her charity work, she's a family woman. She's a passionate coach with a ministry focus on youth. She enjoys books, old school music, Sudoku, and yam porridge. Please join me to welcome Mrs. Kemi Adeoshu, former Minister of Finance, founder Me Foundation and Neither City. You're welcome, ma. We are glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Brilliant.
We can hear you.
I am going to hopefully share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, let's work on that. But at least you can hear me. That's one step.
Yes,
share.
we can.
Right. Here we go again. Can you see my screen now?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll keep trying, but we'll keep talking in the meantime. Can you see me?
Okay. Yes, I can, but I can also help to share. Do you mind if I share the screen for you?
Yeah, sure, if you want to. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. And well done for being here this morning. Let me echo what the chairman, what the MD just said, and you'll see it in my slides as well, that really SMEs are Nigeria's economy. And Nigeria is an economy made up of SMEs. And so if we want to grow the economy, and I know a lot of people talk about the economy, we need to grow the economy. Actually, what we're saying is we need to grow SMEs. That's what we're saying. In the 70s and the 80s, you hear about all these big companies, Nestle, Cadbury, they all set up with massive factories. Those days are gone. Nowadays, it's about niche brands, it's about small businesses growing. And to do that and to be part of that as Nigeria, we have to strengthen our SMEs. So I'm going to talk you through a bit of my thinking around what's important. I have 20 minutes, I'm going to rush. But let me start by saying that that long list of she's a chartered accountant, she's this, she's that, she's this, she's that, is actually incomplete. The one thing I have been for over 35 years is an incredible side hustler. It's only when I got into government I didn't have one side hustle or another. And that's because I've always had this really strong entrepreneurial bug. So if you're wondering what my relevance is to SMEs, it's what I'm passionate about. It's what I've always been passionate about. And so I'm going to share with you some theory, but I'm also going to share some practice, and hopefully you'll pick something up that is useful to you. And if you don't, you've lost 20 minutes of your life, no big deal. So right, let's just move on to the next slide. And I'll tell you what I'm going to be covering. So I'm going to explain why SMEs are really, really important. I'm going to explain a little bit about the financing gap, and then I'm going to give you a few hints on how to get ready for money. What does money like to see before it will come into your business? A good idea is never enough. There are certain things that the bankers, the investors are looking for, and hopefully I can share with you a few tricks on how to get them. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So why are SMEs really important in Nigeria? It's here in these numbers. 96% of businesses in Nigeria are SMEs. 84% of people with a job today are employed by SMEs. That means all those big companies, government, they only account for 16% of jobs. 84% of jobs are from SMEs. Most people that earn a salary are getting it from an SME. So you can clearly see that if governments, state governors, anybody wants to grow jobs in Nigeria, you have to focus on the SMEs. And then in terms of statistics, 48% of our economy is SME. So it's to me, it's like no-brainer or low-hanging fruit that if you do SME better in Nigeria, you'll have a better economy. You'll have more jobs. You'll have more wealth. I don't think anybody can contradict that. So let's move on to the second slide and the next slide. And let me speak a little bit around the structure of SME. So the side hustlers, most Nigerians are really entrepreneurial. They're always doing one thing or another. The side hustle is a big part of our economy. And I think it's something that banks, FirstBank, take note, are what we need to focus on. The reality of the side hustle. Where is the account that's designed for the side hustler? The person that is running their job, running their salary, but equally has a side hustle. How can we make these people grow? Because many of our big entrepreneurs started as side hustlers. So Nidacity, which is the platform I run, which is a teaching platform for SMEs. I run a podcast. Today's guest, she runs a business that turns over in the billions. She started from the boot of her car. For 3 years, she ran that business alongside her job. So how do we pick out these people as financiers? How do we spot them and design products that work for them? That's low-hanging fruit for any bank. Understand the side hustlers, understand what they need, understand their constraints, and design products around them. Then there's existing SMEs. Those are people that are out, they're in business, they've taken the plunge, they're struggling along, they're running their businesses. That's what today is largely about. And hopefully I'll speak to one or two things for them. And then, of course, there's the future SMEs. This is really important. These are the young people who need to begin to start learning business before they jump out. I'm a great believer in before you jump into something, do your research. So these future SME owners are a very, very important ecosystem. And we need to address them. We need to understand their needs. They need to come onto platforms like this. They need to be part of WhatsApp groups that are discussing business. What's the problem? What's going on? Learning and understanding before they jump out into business. Because if they jump into business well equipped, they are likely to succeed. And if they succeed, as you could see from the previous slide, they're going to employ people. And when they employ people, more people move out of poverty. It's as simple as that. So what can you do as an entrepreneur at the moment that will help you attract money? Now, I want to say something about money, and it's important. A lot of entrepreneurs focus excessively on how to get money. There are many, many businesses that I see every day that started with no money. We in Nidacity do this whole series. We call it Low and No. Low capital or no capital. We did a feature on women that started business with less than 1,000 naira. And today they are running business in the billions. So don't start business thinking about money. Start business thinking about an idea and a business model. What is your idea? What is the business model sitting behind your idea? And then you'll be able to figure out the money you need. And indeed, do you need money? That's another thing. Do you need money or do you need contacts? Do you need money or do you just need some technical help? So money can become something of an obsession. And in enterprise, we call it the curse of capital. I'll share an experience that I had when I was in investment banking. We had a client who had borrowed money from us, and the credit went bad. So we went to go and visit the man. He was a poultry farmer. When we got to his poultry, all the houses where the chickens were kept were painted different colors. So he had yellow house, blue house, green house, and he had run out of money for food. So that's, for me, an example of the curse of capital, where priorities were wrong. You had so much money when you were setting up, you painted the chicken coops, but you didn't have enough money for food. So sometimes actually having too much money can be a problem. You are a little bit less disciplined about how you spend. You maybe spend money on things that you don't need. So I would always say, start with the idea, start with the business model. For example, I make shoes. I buy leather, I make shoes, I sell them on Instagram. That's a business model. You must understand your own business model. It is only when you've understood your business model, you then ask your question, okay, how much money do I need? How much money do I need to run this business? If I buy the leather at 10 and my shoes sell at 15, I'm making a profit of 5. Okay, if I recycle that, I can grow this business. Investors, banks don't fund ideas. They fund businesses. So you need to take your idea to business. You need to be able to show your bankers a proof of concept, a proof that your idea works. Because the truth is, I have 100 ideas an hour, and I'm sure most of us do. Not every idea is a business. Not every idea is a good idea. So the best way to attract money is test your idea with your own money, with whatever resources you have. If your idea is beyond your resources, then maybe it's not the right idea for you. I don't know if I'm making sense. So if your idea is that you want to create a mobile phone that will be completely Nigerian and it's called a Niger handset, and you're not an engineer and you don't have any money, that's just an idea. That's not a business. So let's be very clear. Idea is different from business. Business has revenue. Business understands its cost, and business has the potential for a profit. So once you've identified that, then you've got a business. Then prove your concept. Get some sales. Don't ask people, would you buy? If they're not buying, you don't have a business. If they're buying, you have a business. Then you want to understand, why are they buying? What do they like? What do they not like? What do they want more of? What do they want less of? You are then fine-tuning your business into where it needs to be. Now, for existing businesses, because I'm sure many of you are existing businesses, and you'll say, well, you're just talking to people who haven't started. What about us that have started? I'll tell you one thing about business. You're always starting. Every day you're effectively starting. Every day you can change something, shape something, treat it as if you're starting all over. So you're selling dresses and they're not moving. Okay, what are you going to do? Maybe I need to sell off what I have, get the money and start selling shirts. That's a new business. So entrepreneurs are constantly evolving, constantly changing, constantly testing new ideas. That's why Apple will bring out earphones today. They'll bring out a phone tomorrow. They'll bring out a charging deck the next day. They're constantly evolving. So enterprise is never static, because customers are not static. Things change, trends change. So don't feel, if you've already started a business and you're in a particular direction, that you're somehow stuck. As an entrepreneur, you're never stuck. Customers will constantly give you feedback and tell you where to go. And if you notice, that's why some businesses just suddenly blow up. We did another article. I'm speaking about some of our articles. If those of you that go to weddings know that 10 years ago, you go to a wedding, it's a plate of jollof rice. Then what happened? The price of rice went skyrocketed. What did the caterers do? They started giving us amala. Amala that most of us hated as children is now our favorite party food. What have they done? They've replaced rice that they couldn't afford with amala that is much, much cheaper, and still serve their business. That's evolving. That's called evolution. That's constant reinvention. So business owners must be constantly reinventing. If you're already in business, that's great. Reinvent. Keep reinventing. Keep testing new ideas. Don't get static. And when the economy is tough like this, don't get tired. Tiredness kills. Tiredness will make you feel good. You'll feel sorry for yourself, but honestly, it's really not helping you. So keep evolving, keep thinking, keep reinventing. What are the keys? Maintaining up-to-date books. They don't necessarily have to be audited, but they need to be maintained. You need to know whether you're making money or not. Do I have a gross profit? How much is my gross profit? What is gross profit? The gross profit is the difference between your revenue and the direct cost. So let's assume you're selling a dress. You buy it for 10, you sell for 15. Your gross profit is 5. Then from that gross profit, you now have to pay yourself. You have to pay your rent. You have to pay your staff. So the first thing you need to understand is, how healthy is my profit? Am I even making enough money? Because if there's not enough in the business, it may be worth thinking about something else. A lot of people go into businesses without understanding the margins of the business. So for example, cement, water, pure water, beverages, the margin is very low. So you have to sell a huge volume. Whereas some other businesses like fashion, like food, the margin is very healthy. You can make profit selling few. So understand the business you're in, understand the margins in your business. Once you can do that, decisions become a lot easier. A lot easier. The problem with a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, is they associate business accounting with math. And a lot of us hated math at school. So the first time we see our numbers, we just freak out. Oh, leave it, leave it, leave it, leave it. No, you have to face your numbers once a month. If you're making a profit, great. How can you improve it? If you're making a loss, how can you correct it? And sometimes the answer just jumps out at you. You realize, my price is too low, or my cost is too high, or I'm running an office. I don't need an office. No one comes to my office. Let me start working from home. But if you don't know your numbers, it's very difficult to fine-tune your business. So I would say, please know your numbers. Then you can prepare a projection. Where am I going to be next year? Last year, my sales were 50,000 naira a month. I want to grow it to 100. You can project, you can plan, because you have a starting point. And then one that's very common, please separate your business and your personal bank account. This is the way that many small businesses die, because they don't pay themselves. A lot of entrepreneurs do not pay themselves a salary. So whenever they need money, they have to dip into the business. It's the fastest way to kill a business. Pay yourself a salary. Even if the business cannot afford to pay you, mark it down that the business owes you, so that when money comes in, you take it out. But take money out of your business in an orderly manner. Not, oh, school fees has arrived. You scoop everything out of the business and pay the school fees. Eventually, that kind of indiscipline will destabilize your business. So you must pay yourself a salary, and you don't take more than that salary. Now, at the end of the year, when you do your accounts and you say, oh, I've made profit, you can give yourself a bonus. But that regular monthly, please be very disciplined about it. Don't just do things on a whim. You had a great month, you dip in, you buy yourself something. No. You want to buy a car, you scoop all the money out of the business. That's how to kill a business. So you need, and it's difficult because the business is yours and the business is you. So you think, am I not the owner of the business? No, please form that discipline. If there's only one thing you remember today, pay yourself. Pay yourself every month. Pay yourself every month. Especially if you're working in the business. Pay yourself. In fact, you should pay yourself first, because without you, there's no business. Pay yourself before you pay your staff, especially if you're working in the business. Filing tax returns, I'm not going to speak about that because there's a lot of government information about filing your tax returns. And right now with the new tax laws, if you're not filing, they're coming after you anyway. So it's in your interest to file. Typically, it is better to go to the tax man and pay on your own than wait for them to come to you. Because when they come to you, they come aggressively and they typically can penalize you, and the penalties can be huge and they disrupt your business. So just forming that habit that, okay, I know I'm going to have to pay, go and do your own self-declaration. It is better, it is safer, it is cheaper in the long run, it is less disruptive. And then manage your cash flow. Make sure that you focus on cash. Cash, cash, cash. Cash is king. If you're selling on credit, who are you selling to? How long are you giving them to pay? If you're selling on credit, I recommend, if you're selling, say, jewelry or whatever on credit, tell them they can put a deposit. Tell them it's a layaway. You keep the goods until they've paid. Because trust me, when your goods are in somebody's hands, the power is in their hands. They will pay you when they're ready. So to the large extent possible, reduce your credit exposure, reduce those people that are owing you. Get your money, if you can, up front. If you can't, hold on to the goods. Tell them, don't worry, I won't sell it to anybody else. Put a deposit on it and be paying me until they're able to pay it off. Because credit sales can kill businesses very, very fast. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'm just going to talk to you a little bit, like I said, about Nidacity. This is what I do now. I'm trying to make sure that more businesses succeed. Nidacity is Nigerian audacity. We think the Nigerians just have one kind of audacity. We're ready to try and do anything. We've got really, really good entrepreneurial instinct. But what we're trying to do now is to give ourselves better tools, because business is just like football. People practice. You know, when the footballers get on the World Cup and they're kicking the ball around, it looks as if they're playing a game. No, they have practice. They've been in training. Sometimes when the ball goes to the left, the person on the right knows what he's meant to do. It looks like they're just playing a game, but they're actually not. There's actually a lot of science, a lot of training that goes into, by the way, I'm a World Cup person. I like football. I'm a Man U supporter, so I'll use football analogies. So if you see them playing it, they look brilliant, but you forget how much goes on behind. So Nidacity, what we're trying to do, and that's part of what FirstBank are doing, and that's why I accepted this invitation, because I think it's so important. Equip yourself. Equip yourself as a business owner. 10 minutes a day is not too much. Learn something, learn a new skill, read an article, watch a podcast, equip yourself, because business out there is tough. It's really, really tough, but you need information. You need to equip yourself and know what business you're even in. I told this story on the Covenant platform, and let me say it again because it went viral. So one of my customers when I was in banking was an elderly woman. She wasn't really well, she looked elderly to me then. Everybody kind of looked elderly then. But anyway, she used to sell wine in Ilkiari. And I used to go and see her. I was running her investments, so she used to give me money to invest for her. And I used to see her. She would always have money, giving me, you know, chunks of money to invest. I started thinking, because I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a side hustler, I started thinking, maybe I'll go into wine business, or this business is really good. So I started asking her. I said, "Oh, Alaja, this wine, you know, how does it work? Where'd you get the wine from?" And she was just answering me questions. And I started in my head planning, right, I'm going into wine. And then one day she called me and she said, you know, those old women, the way they look at you, she gave me this kind of eyes, you know, those mama eyes, like this one doesn't even know anything. So she said to me, I should follow her. And she ended up taking me to a place beyond Ijebu-Ode. And when we got there were fish ponds, like maybe 400 fish ponds. She was actually doing catfish farming. And the wine business was just a cover. And she told me, she said that 3 of her friends are selling wine. And she's looking at them, they're losing money. So what am I saying? I'm saying research your business. Know what's really going on. Because what you see, especially in Nigeria, the more you look sometimes, the less you see. So some of you're competing. You don't realize that the person you're competing with who has a big shop, her husband is paying the shop rent. There's a lot of what in Yoruba we call Jackie Lacey, let the house rest. So her husband will just say, okay, I'll pay the rent. You go there and be selling things. And you start competing with that kind of person. That kind of person will destroy your business. So you must know what you need information in business. Skill, idea is not enough. You need information. Information is power. What business am I in? Who are my competitors? How are they doing it? If they're able to sell at a particular price, and you know the costs, and it's not making sense, then look, there may be a hidden subsidy somewhere. You know, I'm not saying we should go around and say, hey, don't mind that one. That one is laundering money. That one is doing this. But I'm saying understand who you're competing with. Understand the game you're in. Don't just jump into a business because so many people are into it and they look like they're doing well. You know, if that woman hadn't been kind to me, maybe by now I would have wine would have been one of my failed side hustles, because I was really like determined, like, you know, there's not many people selling wine where I live. I can start selling wine, this wine. I didn't realize that actually she's a catfish farmer. So please, know who you're competing with, have information. We come up every week. I'm doing a podcast and I'm going all over Nigeria. I'm interviewing entrepreneurs. I'm getting them to tell their stories. I'm getting our successful Nigerian entrepreneurs to talk to me. I'm using the fact that I'm former minister. I'm bullying people to say, oh yeah, come and tell us how you got there. Tell us how you've succeeded. Tell us what you've learned, because like I said, business is just like everything else. You need to learn it. You need to understand it's a science. It's not enough to just say, oh, my mom was a businessman, I know business. Oh, my mom was a businesswoman, I know business. No, you have to add skill to your natural capacity. So I'm going to stop there. Because I think there's a question and answer session later on. And I hope that I have given you a few things to think about. But let me just recap. Numbers, very, very important. First of all, know your business. What business are you even in? Secondly, know your numbers. Thirdly, get knowledge. And congratulations to all. I'm seeing about 1,400 people online. Fantastic. 1,400 entrepreneurs who are getting knowledge. Get free knowledge, get paid for knowledge, read books. Don't scroll on Instagram. You don't have that kind of time. You don't have the time to be laughing at funny things on Instagram. You are in business, and business is tough. It's warfare. So you need to be ready. So well done to FirstBank for pulling all this together. I think it's incredibly important that banks are taking notice of entrepreneurs and listening to entrepreneurs. And well done to the team that put this together. Have a great session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. You said have a great session. Please, you're still with us. Don't go anywhere yet. And thank you so much for the insightful session, for your presentation. And I picked one or two things. You know, the first thing you said was that you are a side hustler. I said, if you're a side hustler, then hey, I am a side hustler too. You know, like you said, that is one thing that we all are. And you mentioned the fact that 84% of jobs are created by SMEs. That shows how important we are. And you know, it is said that SMEs are the bone of a country. And with 84% of job, definitely we cannot survive with SMEs. So SMEs here, please don't look down on yourself. You've heard what Mrs. Adeosun had said. We are the ones, if not for us, this Nigerian economy. So thank you so much for that insightful session. And I also there's something else I also picked up, which was when you said that you said too much money can be a problem. You know, we are always quick to say that I don't have money, that's why I can't do business. I don't have money, that's why no. So it's not about money. You can actually have the too much money, like you said, and it can also be a problem. And that there is a difference between an idea and business. There are a lot of things about the business, but idea is just idea. I was really following you, ma, and thank you so much. I appreciate. So I will go ahead now to we'll start the plenary session. But before we do, I will want us to, you know, there's a poll that our technical team will be sharing right now. There's a poll that they will be sharing. We would want you to, you know, just give us some seconds just to answer the poll. And even as you answer the poll, I want to remind everyone that please don't wait till you are able to don't wait till don't wait before the end of the session before you drop your questions. Please kindly start dropping your questions in the Q&A tab, you know, so that we are readily able to pick your questions and answer. Thank you, everyone. All right, so I'll be introducing our panel. We have highly important panel here today, and they are here, you know, to demystify all that we think about when it comes to financing. That is why we want you to start sending in your questions so that we are able to answer all your questions. I will start with the holy man. I will start trying to get this out. Bear with me. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm starting with Mr. Edu, Oluwatoyin Edu. Mr. Edu is a seasoned finance expert. Sorry, finance expert with experience spanning the financial services industry and financial system regulation. He currently serves as the executive director, micro, small, and medium enterprises at the Bank of Industry, BOI, where he provides strategic leadership and oversight for MSME-focused financing and enterprise development initiatives, strengthening business ecosystems, and advancing sustainable and inclusive economic growth across key sectors of the economy. Previously, he also served as the executive director, risk management and information technology before joining the Bank of Industry. Mr. Edu served with distinction at the Central Bank of Nigeria, where he held several leadership positions, including Director Deputy and Head of Office in the Banking Supervision Department. Over the years, Mr. Edu has made remarkable contributions to the development of Nigeria's financial regulatory architecture. He played key roles in the review of prudential guidelines, adoption of IFRS for financial institutions, banking sector recapitalization, and the design of risk-based interest rate pricing models for deposit money banks. Beyond these professional accomplishments, Mr. Edu is a respected thought leader and engaging public sector, known for public speaker, known for his clarity, depth, and practical perspective on financial regulation, risk management, and sustainable development finance. He is a fellow of both the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria and the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, as well as certified anti-money laundering specialist. He holds an MBA from the University of Benin and a Bachelor of Agriculture from the University of Agriculture, Makurdi. Join me to welcome Mr. Oluwatoyin Edu, Executive Director, Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises, Bank of Industry. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you, Olajumoke. My pleasure
Thank
to
you.
be here.
Thank you, sir. And we have Mrs. Afoluwake Bola Daunsi, who had her first degree in political science from the University of Ilorin and MBA in technology management. She's a member of Chartered Institute of Bankers, fellow Nigerian Institution of Credit Administration, member of Risk Management Association of Nigeria, certified risk analyst from International Academy of Financial Management, China. Afoluwake is an alumni of the prestigious LBS Advanced Management Program, as well as a Senior Management Development Program. She has about 30 years working experience, including advertising and banking industries. Afoluwake's experience in the banking industry include branch operations, domestic operations, clearing, human capital management, corporate banking, credit and marketing, subsidiary risk management, risk control, and credit analysis. She is currently head of credit analysis and processing department for retail, public sector, infrastructure, and financial institution in the risk management team. She has attended several courses within and outside the country, ranging from project management, risk management, and leadership trainings, amongst others. Join me to welcome Mrs. Afoluwake Boladaunsi, the head credit analysis and processing FirstBank. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me.
Good morning. Thank you, ma'am. And we have Ellen Willie. Ellen Willie is a highly motivated, result-oriented banking professional with more than 23 years of comprehensive experience in all phases of branch operations, marketing research, project and product management, solution delivery in the banking industry. Our expertise spans strategic marketing, client solution delivery, cash management, subsidiary expansion, relationship management, and brand positioning. As the head SME banking, she leads the growth, profitability, and strategic direction of the SME portfolio. Previously, she led transaction banking subsidiary business and cash management, driving innovative solutions across sub-Saharan African subsidiaries and strengthening corporate collections and payment offerings. She also drove the delivery of the first direct corporate solution as head transaction banking solution delivery. Ellen holds a first degree in health education from the University of Benin and an MBA from the Business School, Netherlands. She's an alumni. She's an alumni of the Certified Business Analysis Professional and an associate of the Chartered Institute of Bankers. Join me to welcome Helen Willie, Head SME Banking FirstBank. You're welcome, ma'am. So let's start. This is a time where we'll ask all your questions. We're able to give some clarifications to the things that you need that will help your business to scale and that will help you to structure your business in such a way that you are ready for financing. I would want to start with Mr. Edu. There's a question here. Okay, let me try and put everything. Okay, it's a two-in-one question. The question says, a lot of us hear about BOI. Could you explain to us what exactly Bank of Industry BOI does? And can you give us the key funding solutions BOI currently provides for SMEs across different sectors and growth stages? Mr. Edu, over to you.
Thank you so very much. I hope I'm being heard.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. And I must also commend the keynote speaker, Madam Adeosun, who I have known for almost an entire lifetime now. Good afternoon, Madam. So for us in BOI, we are here or we exist to serve Nigeria in the area of industrial development. We are the foremost development finance institution in Nigeria. BOI has been around since 1959 and have done quite a number of things. So in terms of what we do and the kind of financing that we provide financing basically along two tracks. One is a term loan financing, and the other one is financing around working capital. So how do we then do this? We focus heavily on MSME. As a matter of fact, our current run of strategy, that is the 2025-27 strategy, has 6 thematic areas. And this 6 thematic area, you can ascribe 4 directly to MSME. We're speaking about gender, youth and skill. We're speaking about MSME. We're speaking about climate. So the other one, the main one that you will not be able to say directly to MSME is where you maybe talk about infrastructure, which involves very large financing. So what kind of, right now for MSME, we have quite a whole lot of package for MSME financing. There is currently a program called RAPID, Rural Area Program on Investment for Development. Another side of it is what we call GLOW. GLOW is guaranteed loan for women, where at very discretionary rates, 7%, RAPID is 9%. We are also known to give loans under very favorable conditions. In fact, I would say we are the humane bank, because we look at your situation and try to give you the loan that best suits you. Anywhere from 3, 4, 5, 7 years, you can get such loan, and at very, very discretionary interest rates. There's one very one major opening now that I would like the participants here to hear about, which is the iGuys program. It's funded partly by the federal government of Nigeria, Islamic Development Bank, France Development Bank, Africa, AFDB. Is $614 million total package. The portal is open, and anybody who cares, they fit into the demography that is targeted mostly as youth. And then beyond this program, we have on the inside, which the normal just BOI, you want come as you are kind of facility, appraise maybe you do not fit into the youth segment, gender segment, and all this segment, but we still are open to do businesses with you. So pretty much that is what BOI has in terms of available funding and finance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Edu. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. There's another question that is just, it's close to what you have answered, so I think it's better I send the question. There's a question that says that what kind of loans are best suited for BOI funding? Are they all kind of businesses, or they have specific type of businesses that they finance? I believe, please just answer before I go to the next panelist. Thank you very much.
Okay. Maybe let me just take some peculiarities. I spoke about the thematic area. One, if our first consideration is impact. What impact is your business, or when we fund you, what impact are we looking for you to make? Are you going to employ more people? Are you going to do import substitution for us? Are you going to be able to export your product so that we can take in export proceeds and all that? That is number one consideration. Then in every stage, we have suitable financing, whether you are at the early stage, even startups that will not be able to take loan will provide what you call equity financing. BOI also have what you call impact fund, which is I think about $50 million fund, where we assess your project and say, look, this one will not need loan, but rather patient capital equity contribution. I'm sure you've heard about the African Medical Center of Excellence, and they host quite a number of other businesses that were from using that. Then if you are at the stage of scaling, you come to BOI, we look at what you have been doing, and I must give credit to the keynote speaker about all those highlights around the discipline, the cash flow. You have experimented at the early stage, and now you feel like you need to scale. We are also your partner. Particularly for me, we can do up to 2 billion naira in loan to MSME. Again, when you graduate from MSME, and you now say, oh, we have become so big, we can fund you to the tune of 20% of our shareholders fund, which is the regulatory single obligor limit. Our shareholders fund as of today is in excess of 800 billion naira. So we're looking at 160 billion funding ability for any business in Nigeria that is worth that kind of. So along the spectrum of financing, we will be able to finance just anybody that fits into that thematic area, one, and will enable us to provide impact. Then let me add one important thing. We do not fund trade. Just you buy and you just want to sell and make profits. No, we fund mostly across value chain, something that will add value to the process, create jobs before you then export or sell to individuals. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this clarity. And I'm sure that we are able to understand what it is that we can come to BOI for now. Thank you very much. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
this next question, thank you, sir. So this next question will go to Afoluwake Daunsi. So there's a question from Damilare Olaseyinde. He said, or she, what is the single biggest mistake SMEs make during the financial application process that leads to rejection, and how can we prevent it?
Okay, thank you, Olajumoke. One of the mistakes the SME usually make is to give us inadequate information. They don't have complete information for the request. Then you also find out that a lot of them don't have an account, or maybe they have and they are using their personal account with their business account. They bring it to us, and that makes it difficult when you want to assess them. Another thing you also see is them not having a good credit report or credit history. They borrow before, and when you check the credit bureau, you find out that they have a bad credit. You have a history of return check. And another thing is not having a viable business, which is what the bank will be financing. If your business is not viable, you don't have demand for your product, then there really no business for the bank to finance you at that particular point in time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's another question close to that. This is Olubumi Daniel. It says, for, from a credit assessment standpoint, what are the top factors lenders consider when evaluating an SME loan application? He also said, apart from collateral, what truly gives an SME a strong credit profile in today's environment?
Okay, to start with the first one, when you want to assess an SME, first of all, you have to have your business registered, because that's what the bank is going to lend to. So you have a business. When you register your business, you also consider whether you need approval, you need permits, depending on the industry where you are operating. For school, you need to provide the approval from the Ministry of Education. If it's a pharmacist, you have to get the Pharmaceutical Council Association permit and all of the requirements that you need. Then, just like I said before, you have to have a business account different from your personal account that you are running, and you are running it very well. You also have to have good credit report. I keep saying that because that will help your rating and even in the appraiser. Then your cash flow. Do you have the cash flow to sustain the facility you want to request for? Another thing is the facility that you're asking for. Do you have the right facility that you're asking for? Is it suitable for your business, or you're asking for something that you don't need? Just like the minister said, then how much money will you be requiring? A lot of SME feel that they need a lot of money, so they just throw in a request and say, okay, this is what I want. So you need to understand your cash flow and see what's the capital need that you require for that particular thing. Then another thing is your ability to repay. Can you repay the facility, which comes again to the cash flow I mentioned? Then the security. If you are required to provide security, what exactly do you have to give? There's some limits that when you exceed it, you have to give some level of comfort to the bank so that they can lend to you. Then on the second question, can you just remind me on that? The second question. I can't hear you.
Apologies. So
Okay.
it was saying that beyond collateral, what other things gives an SME a strong credit profile in today's environment?
Okay, so beyond collateral, you need to have a good account management and you find out that it keeps coming up. Even when the minister was making a presentation, you must have a good record keeping. Your books will be kept properly. You have your sales, you have your expense put together. Then you have your financial statement or statement of account from the bank they are using, or FirstBank, as the case may be. Then you have the request. What exactly are you requesting for? Does it match the business you are trading? Do you have demand for your product that you are asking for at that particular time? Because nobody will finance a business that is not viable. Then where are the cash flow? Do we have the cash flow? So that when they lend to you, we can follow the cash flow. Again, your history, even in the bureau or with the bank, is also very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I mean, cash flow very key, and history of your transactions very key. Thank you so much, ma. There's I have a question here now for Mrs. Adeoshu. Mohammed Umar says, does Adeoshu have a training outfit for finance literacy and investment in the UK? I want to join my journey with a visit to her. So okay.
The first answer to that is location. Mrs. Adeosun lives in Nigeria. Mrs. Adeosun is speaking to you from Lagos, and Nigerian Audacity is Lagos based. So yes, we do training videos, we do training sessions. So just follow us on social media, and then you'll be able to see when there's training available. But yeah, Mrs. Adeosun actually lives in Nigeria. She has lived in Nigeria since 2021. I don't know why people think I'm in London. Anyway.
I never knew that Mr. Adeosu was a hustler.
Managing director, be careful. Nice to see you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Well done, FirstBank.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, madam. Thank you so much. And we've learned so much from you today.
I didn't even know you were listening.
Well me, attentively. And my friend from BOI, Tony Edu, my very good friend. So, I mean, I have to listen and enjoy every bit of it.
I think when the GMD of a massive bank comes onto an SME platform, FirstBank are showing that they're very serious. I think it's a massive sign. So well done, sir.
Thank you. I've told my team we are doubling down. We're actually deploying about 1,000 RMs now for SMEs alone. Wow. We are moving into the market massively.
Wow.
So, cool. Yeah, we need to take over that market completely. But that's Nigeria. That's Nigerian business. If you don't support that segment, Nigeria doesn't have any business to run. And the unfortunate aspect of it is that we will leave them to sharks and people will suffer. So if we actually want to do economic development, we need to attack that area. And that's why we're deploying 1,000 RM to ensure that we'll mark the market. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you.
I like you. I've not seen you physically for a long time. So you are hiding in BOI now.
MD, you know, MSME business is a serious business. we are trying to deploy. I tell everybody that MSME in BOI is essentially the most pan-Nigeria organization or agency that you can think about. Whether you're talking about Maiduguri, Zamfara, Kebbi, Port Harcourt, Lagos, Osun, we all have those spread. So I'm sure in your decision or in your quest to meet or talk to MSME, you can't find a better partner than BOI.
I agree.
I'm sitting in that saddle now. So
I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jumoke, you are muted if you are speaking.
Okay, thank you very much. Mrs. Adeosun, we are not done, please. There's a question that that is for you here also. Rotimi Akionla says, in an economy like Nigeria, where customers' purchasing power is unstable, what are the most effective strategies to sustain and grow a business that is still in its nurturing stage without overstretching limited resources?
That's a fantastic question. So let me start by saying that Nigeria's economy, he's correct, is at a stage where purchasing power is eroded. So it depends. And to answer this question properly, I need to know what you're selling, right? Because even though purchasing power is eroded, people are still spending, right? People will always spend. The question is, at what level do they spend? So if you look at big companies, what are they doing? They're doing smaller packaging, smaller packages, because they know that people don't have the cash for a big purchase. So to answer the question fully, I really need context, but let me just say that study, you know, I keep talking about this studying business, and I'm very passionate about it. What's going on in your market? Sometimes, you know, just sit down. Don't do anything. Just sit down and watch. I do this a lot. You sit down and watch. Like one day I sat down and watched a vulcanizer, and I counted how many cars stopped. And I began to estimate in my head, how much is this guy making per day? So whatever business you're in, study the trends. You have to survive. Things will get better. People's purchasing power will ease. A lot of what's happening at the moment is not really so much government policy, it's actually the war in Iraq. Once that eases itself out, fuel price will start coming down, people will begin to purchase again. The question is, like I said earlier on, customers are never static. They're always moving on to something. So your job is to work out what's the next bounce of the ball. Where are people going next, and go and wait for them there. That's what I would say. But without context, it's difficult to answer that question. But it's a good question.
Thank you very much. I agree, really. Well, thank you so much for giving a kind of clarity to help Rotimi that asked the question. So I have a question here. Good afternoon, FirstBank team. This is from Yusuf Ali. I am a soft drink seller, and one of our biggest challenges is the high cost of electricity and the lack of stable power supply. Does FirstBank have any loan facility or special financing program that can help small business owners like us install solar power systems to improve our businesses and increase productivity? Helen, please, can you answer this question for us?
Yes, thank you very much, Jumoke. And to the person that put that question, yes, at First Bank we have specialized products that is targeted for financing solar system. So we have the solar system, the solar financing credit that we offer to businesses to enable them power, to power their shops, to power their offices, because we know that, solar electricity is actually a challenge currently in the country, and businesses cannot scale without power supply. So if you reach out to us, we'll, review the size of your business and then be able to advise on the type of solar financing that we can extend to you. So we have that product in First Bank because we have actually looked at the whole the SME business end to end, and we have business products that are targeted for different segments of the SME and for the different journeys just to support them. So we finance solar system for businesses in First Bank. So just reach out to us and we'll support you with getting a solar system for your business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eileen. There's another question that is close to that one. And this question is saying that First Bank is known for giving only big people loans. Are there different loans for traders that can allow them to scale in their business?
Definitely, First Bank, we understand that access to funding can be a challenge, especially when your business is still running on a micro level and you do not have access to collateral. So that is why we offer, our First Trader Solution facility, which is built for market traders and informal businesses. So you are able to access, working capital that will enable you to run your business, just to turn over your business. And then, of course, there's daily payment, there's weekly payment, 14 days, 30 days, 90 days turnover of the facility. We also have the retail temporary overdraft, which is quick and short-term support for daily business operations. And then we have our new merchant credit, which is a short tenor digital lending solution that is designed for merchants with strong POS driven cash flows. So if you have a FirstBank POS, we can access your cash flow. When we have access to your cash flow, then we'll be able to determine the loan that we can give you. It is non-collateralized. So we definitely support small businesses, micro businesses in FirstBank. We have tailored products that we have curated specifically to address your cash flow challenges in your business. So if you are transacting, you can actually access credit simple and fast with FirstBank. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Helen. So, Bolaji, now you've heard it. We have different kind of loans to fit your business transaction in FirstBank. There's a question here for Mr. Edu. Let me try and make sense of the question. Okay, so the question is saying that there is a gap. There is a gap between available government funding and SME access to finance. What do you think? What do you think drives this gap?
Okay, thank you for that question. So the first thing that we see, in Nigeria, we have this common saying, I say mentality, that maybe because we don't like the government, or maybe because we feel far removed from the government, whatever is coming from anywhere, the first thing is, because it's from over the years trust deficit, the first impression or the first reaction is, na lie them they talk. It doesn't matter who is saying it. So that in itself is the very first barrier. Anything that is coming, for as long as all you need is just verify first to be sure that it's coming from that source. So if you can prove to yourself that this is a genuine source of information, please, by all pleasure or by all grace, go for it. And the reason is very simple. My stay in BOI here has shown me that, yes, there are quite a lot of things that's available just for the asking. But because of this information asymmetry, because of this attitude of who wants to go to a BOI or go to a bank, and meanwhile, BOI does not just offer finance, there is advisory service, there is a capacity building, there is even an ecosystem support where you can as well get this benefit from. So that is one source of gap. The next source of gap, I would think, is the behavior of the average lender. So the Honorable Minister said something earlier about pedigree, capacity. So if you are taking money, for instance, all these payday loans, even something as simple as your airtime credit, because MTN signed up to credit bureau, Glo, Airtel, and all these are vendors, service providers signed up to credit bureau. If you borrow airtime and it takes within time, not even borrow, if you are supposed to pay a bill and you didn't pay, your name will get to the credit bureau as somebody who cannot fulfill his obligation, who has non-performing credit. Then take it further to all the fintechs that now give people just money at the asking, and you are not paying. Whatever reason, what you are essentially doing is shut yourself out of the system. Even though there are so many, like I just told you here that we have a GLO guaranteed loan for women, we have Rapid, we have so many SME financing options here in BOI, but because of all these little hitches, we are essentially have to go up ourselves now. I was just telling my people that, look, with this 10 billion naira that we have on GLO, for instance, as small as it is, we are not able to get enough people to come for that money. And what is the reason? You push forward, the applications come in through the portal. By the time you start the scrutiny, you realize that either the person himself has a bad credit in the credit bureau, or the guarantor that he has put has a bad credit in the credit bureau, so you cannot progress. Structure your business. When you structure your business, we can't say that enough, so that it doesn't look like I'm flogging that. CNC registration, maintaining the private account as different from your corporate account, all these things will help you to easily come in. For instance, if I have to sign up a credit, and the first line is telling me that this is a 2-time or this is a 3-time returning customer, do you know what it does for me? The level of scrutiny automatically goes down, because this person has shown over the years, over the period, that he or she is a man of his word or her word. So you are more likely going to give that person. So the little opportunities that you have to be able to, you don't have to become a billionaire. After all, Innocent started with maybe like 5-10 million from BOI. Today, the factory is worth in the tens of the billions. So you can start small. Your 100,000 today, make sure you stick to the commitment. Whatever it is that you need to do that to pay, it's better to suffer on the other areas than put your reputation or integrity at risk. So there are quite a number of that, but I know that these two that I've provided is if you can overcome these two, the information asymmetry and trying to protect your integrity, give yourself a good name before you show up to get credits, that gap will definitely be covered. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oluwatoyin Edu. There's another question here from Comfort Olumoko. Says, good morning, everyone. God bless you for this program. Please, how can one get grants for business? Someone like me need an industrial cylinder bed machine for bag making.
Okay.
Do I repeat that? Or okay, all right.
No, I get you. Let me just address the question.
Okay.
Again, I can't stop going back to the minister's keynote address, because essentially what I would have just said was that let's close this program. She has said everything. If anybody is listening through the program and can decipher enough, everything that you need to do. The first thing is you have to prove that this proof of concept, like you say, proof that this your business is bankable. Have you successfully over the years been able to derive cash flow that is sustainable from this business? So if you can prove that, when you come to a place like BOI, for instance, everything is not loan. Sometimes it may just be advice. I'm looking at you. You are running generator. You are running diesel. After the post-Iran, Iraq, US-Iran war, diesel price went to as high as 2,000 naira from maybe less than 1,000, about 1,000. You are not going to be sustainable doing that. How are you going to be able to pass that cost to your customer? I look at you, you come to BOI, okay, what you need actually is not additional financing, or maybe you can do your power audit. Maybe we can get you a solar system that will enable you, maybe in the next 10, 15, or even 20 years, you can even this cost out, and then you are not bothered about subsequent diesel increase or anything. So we can do that for you. When you come, we look at you, okay, this is your business at the stage it is now. Even if we give you a loan, you may not be able to pay. Maybe you need 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. We don't even know how long it's going to take you, but we believe in this, your project. We can take you to the impact fund and give you some equity participation. You give us 10%, give us 20% for this amount of money, and we just stay aside. You can even infuse management just to help you. So it depends on what we see that will then determine what kind of help or assistance that we can render you in the financing space. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, I have quite a number of questions for you. So I will just maybe add like 3 together. I mean, so that you can dwell on everything together. Thank you so much, Mr. Oluwatoyin. Okay, so for Mrs. Adeosun, greetings, former honorable minister. Please, how would you recommend access, I access the financial performance and repayment capacity of my agricultural business, given that my income is highly seasonal rather than consistent on a monthly basis? In particular, revenue fluctuating revenue fluctuates significantly depending on planting and harvest cycles, with strong income concentrated in specific months and lower or minimal income during others. What financial approach or metrics would you advise for evaluating cash flow? Do you want me to go on, or would you take this question
No,
first,
let me
ma'am?
take that question because it's a very specific one.
All right.
So, do you remember I
Okay.
talked about business model? What is your business model? So, let's assume now you're talking about planting cassava. Let's say, for argument's sake, you know when you're going to plant. That's your cost, right? And you know that you're going to wait 9 months, 8 months before you harvest, which I think is what you're describing. That, but in that 8 months, maybe there's some weeding, some watering, some fertilizer that has to be applied. So the first thing you're going to do, what are my costs? That's your input, your land clearing, your planting, your fertilizers. You compute those. Then what do I estimate to be my revenues? Now, here you have to be careful. Be as conservative as possible. Don't look at the top. Oh, the highest price of cassava was so that's how much I'm going to make. So if the highest price of cassava was, let's say 300, estimate yours at 250 or 240. Then look at the difference between the two. Do I have a margin? That's the first question. Before you plant anything, do I have a margin? So once you know you have a margin, all you're now looking at is, do I now have enough cash to last me for that 9 months? And when I then harvest and sell, my money comes back in, then I can go again. So there's no business cycle that doesn't lend itself to this same discipline of assessing. When is my money going out and when do I expect it to come back in? Think about many businesses are like that, where it's once a year. Some people, the people that do Father Christmas, they only sell once a year. People that sell Valentine's gifts, it's once a year. So don't think that, oh, my business is so difficult or so unpredictable that I cannot be disciplined about it. There is no business that does not lend itself to that same discipline. When do my revenues go? And you can plot it monthly. Okay, in month 1, I'm spending 100,000. Then month 2 to 7, it's 5,000 for a boy to just go and weed it. But month 8, I have to hire laborers to come and help me harvest. And month 9, my money comes in. It's a perfectly acceptable cycle. So do those numbers, but remember to be very conservative about your revenue. So you're not over optimistic. Then, if you estimate at 250 and it's positive, you know that if it goes to 300, you're laughing. But I think the mistake a lot of people make is they're too optimistic about their revenues. Try and be a little bit conservative about your revenues, but be very pessimistic about your costs. So if there's still a margin, you have a great business. Mr. Edu has his
Thank you
hand
very
up.
much.
Yes.
Okay. Please
Mr.
go ahead,
Edu,
sir.
nice to see you again. It's been many years.
Same here. So I just wanted to layer what the Honorable Minister said with maybe some practical aspect to it. He wants to know how he can put his book together and, in preparation for, in essence, how he can formalize. So there are 2 ways I would recommend for him. 1, mentorship. You are not the first in that business. There are quite a whole lot of businesses around you. It doesn't take anything. I intend to do some farming myself once I get some freedom from, to be my side hustle, as it were. What is my intention? Look through who has done it the best, who has done it very well, and it doesn't take anything being humble to let them know that, look, I'm coming here to learn how you do this, and so they will take you through that progress for as long as your intention is, good. The other thing that we recommend for you is in BOI, there is what we have these agents, that represent us. We onboard them because we also know that because of manpower restrictions, we can only do so much on ourselves. So these are maybe retired bankers, retired staff of BOI, more or less like consultants. We call them business service development providers. So they are like partners to us. So if you can get any one of these, and even don't be afraid of the fees, because the fees is actually on BOI at the end of the day, and it's what you call success fee. That is if they are able to even bring you in. So these guys will guide you, show you the nitty-gritty of what you need to do in terms of providing financials for yourself, taking care of, trading profit or loss account and things like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that addition and for more clarification. Um, well, to continue the questions for Mrs. Adeoshu, thank you. This is from Frank Ruben. Thank you. My wife is planning to start a business, but she's on a 8 to 5 job. Our plans are to do a market. Our plans are to do a market survey, rapid marketing awareness to hotels and individuals. So I am trying to ask her if she can be able to handle the 2 jobs, but she believes that she can do it. But I am worried and concerned. Should I abort it or should I let her go on?
Well, as a side hustler, I will always tell you that you never know where a side hustle will end. Like I said, today's podcast is a lady who started selling handbags in the boot of her car. If you see her shop now and her billion naira turnover business, her husband is now her chairman. So please don't stop, especially women, don't stop us from doing anything we want to do. But let's be more down to the practical. She has a plan, she has an idea. Let her test it. That's what we talked about. Test the idea. See with one hotel or one establishment, if there's take up, if they sell, don't let them say, I will buy. If they buy, then she knows she has a business. And then she will juggle that with her job. I would say 1 or 2 things, though, about being a side hustler. You have to be very, very careful with the ethics of side hustling. Because if you are paid from 9 to 5 to work in somebody's business, you must work in their business. You must not be seen to be running your business on another person's time. Firstly, I think spiritually, it would destroy your business because you are effectively stealing from someone else and hoping that you will do well out of it. You can't. It's a wrong foundation. So whatever business you do as a side hustler, always do it in your own time. My business was always in my own time. If I had to make a phone call, I would be in my lunchtime. It's not when you're meant to be doing your work. And then don't use your employer's laptop. Don't use your employer's Wi-Fi. Don't use your employer's server. Many people have been dismissed for doing that because it's actually against company policy. But there is nothing that stops you from having your MiFi, making sure you use your mobile hotspot. Do not, please do not. It always looks like your people are being clever, but it's actually stealing and it destroys businesses. So there's nothing wrong with the side hustle. If your company does not have a policy against side hustling, or some companies say you can't even do any business. But if there's no policy against it, read the staff handbook, make sure you stay within the rules. And then make sure that for as long as you're doing your 9 to 5, you're doing it well, because your 9 to 5 is the capital for what we call your 5 till 9. You know, your 9 to 5 is your seed capital for your side hustle, and your side hustle may become your eventual business. So don't jeopardize your 9 to 5. Don't lose both. I've seen a lot of people lose both. Oh, this business is going to do well, start misbehaving at work. No. In fact, I think if you're a side hustler, you owe it to yourself. Be everything you were in your job, and then in your time, go for your business. So that would be my advice.
Thank you very much for the advice. I have another question from Ahmad Hayuade. Thank you, Mrs. Kemi Adeoshu. My question is that what are the signs or indicators that the presence means that their presence means my SME business is the right way? I mean, maybe what is just trying to say that my SME business is done the right way, because we SMEs face a lot of challenges that make us feel maybe we are not on the right track. I think he's talking about
Yeah.
signs that shows that he's doing the right thing at the right time. Okay, over to
The
you.
biggest signs are sales. Do you have sales? After you have sales, are they profitable sales? Now, that's why I said you must know your numbers and you must know your costs, because some people, they're selling at a loss. So they're selling, but they're actually losing money. So if you know your numbers and at the end of the month, there is a gross profit margin, that is the difference between your revenue and what you are paying, then you are able to cover your expenses, you are on the right track. when things are difficult, like I said, for example, now because of the increase in fuel price, sometimes those metrics are not clear. So you may actually think, "Oh, I'm losing sales," but no, it's just a period you have to manage yourself through, and then when things get better, you'll be able to assess. But there are definitely signs. Is your revenue growing? Do people like your product? Get feedback, and the biggest feedback from the market is sales. There's nothing like sales, and not just sales, cash, because some sales is, oh, you're selling on credit. If the person hasn't paid, it's not sales. That is dash. You have dashed them until they choose to pay you. So don't be confused. I'll use this example. I have a young friend that started selling jewelry, and she told me, "Oh, all my jewelry is sold out." 3 months later, no one person had paid. In fact, when she started looking for money, some of them started returning it. So sales means cash. Sales means money. That is, somebody is prepared to pay you for the goods. That is the first sign that you're on the right track. And then, are you able to cover your costs? That's the second one. And then from there, you can grow. But you can see the power of knowing your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, it's difficult to assess whether you're doing well. Sometimes, a lot of, like I told you before, there's a lot of smoke screen out there. People are doing different things. So don't get confused. Be very, very disciplined about your own business and what your numbers are. I hope that helps.
Thank you very much. It does help. Sales means what did you said sales means you're on the right path. Thank you very much. Okay, so I wanted thank you very much, Mrs. Adeosun. I'm going to go to Mrs. Afoluwake now.
Sorry, am I free
Um
to go? Because I have another meeting. Am
no,
I
not
free?
yet. Oh,
Oh,
no, we have you till 1 p.m., ma'am.
okay. All right. I'll sit still.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So, Mrs. Afoluwake, there's a question here, that I believe you would help us to do justice to it. Most bank Tolulope Gbadamosi says most bank don't give loan to education industry. Please, what should someone do to get finance from the bank?
Itolu, thank you for the question. For FirstBank, we have a tailored product and we call it First Edu. So for you to be able to access that facility, you must have a school, which is obvious. You must have a minimum of 20 students, pupils in your school. Like I said before, you must have registered the school with the appropriate authority. And you give us your statement of account either with us or with another banks that you are banking with. We assess that and see your cash flow. We usually look at the timely inflow from school and your expense for that period and be able to be sure that you can actually pay back. And I must say that we have different categories. If we are taking 35 million, we can lend straight against your school fees that will be paid. But if you are taking anything above that, will be required to give us a sum of comfort in terms of security, even for that lending. And you can take as much as 150 as the cash flow can support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Afoluwake. Again, there's another question. How much from Atiku Suraju? How much account turnover and how many months of banking history do I need before applying for a larger loan?
Okay. I don't understand what he meant by larger loan because your cash flow will determine what your capital need will be. So the time you can apply is 8 months to 12 months, depending on where you are coming from. For FirstBank, we want to see your account run with us for a minimum of 12 months. And if you are not with FirstBank, you're in other banks, will provide us with the same account with another bank that we can review. And for the amounts, I think your cash flow will tell us the capacity, which we will check. We'll see what have been coming in and what has been going out, and that will determine how much will be given to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ma'am. Um, Helen, I think there's a question for you here. Henry Omopo Omopon I'm so sorry. Henry is asking if okay, let me just ask the question. Um, how can FirstBank help new entrepreneurs who want financial assistance with loans or SME funding to start up businesses? In my own understanding, FirstBank only grants big loan to salary workers. But what happens to those who want to create a good business but don't have the financial capacity for it? Please, I would like to know your insights and how First Bank could be of help to them. Over to you, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much, Dimoke. I'm sure that we've actually addressed this question. Mrs. Adeosun has addressed it, even Mr. Toyin Edu, that you don't start business thinking about money. You start business, you need an idea. So at First Bank, we don't only give loans to salary earners. I've said it before that we support even the micro business. We have, loans that we give to small businesses. We also have loans that we give to um, key sectors. So if you're operating in key sectors like the health sector, we have loans for clinics, for hospitals, and pharmacies. We also have Edu loan, as Apoluwake has mentioned, for schools and education providers. If you are into petroleum, we have petroleum dealership finance for filling stations and energy business. So right now, I do not know the sector that you belong into or the type of business that you are currently into or you want to go into. So what I'll just suggest is that you walk into any of our branches and we'll sit with you and review, your plans and determine if what you need is advisory or what you actually need is funding. So that is my advice. But at whatever stage that your business is or your idea is, we can actually help you, bring it to life. We can bring it to life and we can support you until you scale and grow into, a very big corporation. So we are there, our branches are available, we have our branches spread all over. So you can reach out to us and we will support you at the stage of your, idea, at the point of ideation until you start your business if you do not have one already. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much,
very much.
Helen. There's another question that I wanted to give Afoluwake before. Please, Afoluwake, there's a question from Peter Oni, says, does First Bank accept Treasury bill certificates as collateral for a loan? And what percentage cover for loan facilities?
Okay, thank you. We do accept, and if you are giving us, we want to have a coverage of 110% coverage. So 110% coverage. So what we are saying is that, for example, you are taking 100 million, you have to give us 110 million to cover for that facility in terms of the treasury bill that you are giving us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Afoluwake. Mrs. Adeosun and Mr. Edu, I don't know who would like to take these questions. I'll just read them out now. Okay, Arome is actually, okay, well, asking the former minister anyway. In the former minister's presentation, she talked about business model and idea as key to SMEs growth. I am not in dispute of this, but we cannot take away the importance of financing with the double-digit interest rate, which is a factual challenge in Nigeria economy. How do you harmonize this? This is one. Let me just also read one that is like it also. Um, okay, my name is Kelvin. I am 42 years hold. I'm a fashion designer. I have a business plan and registered with CAC. Mine is not just a business, it is a vision. A vision to explore fashion to inspire patriotism and promote tourism over time. I realized that I am constrained by age. I am constrained by age, applying for grants and all that. How can I get funding to set up my fashion business? You can go ahead, ma'am, or sir.
Okay, so let me take the first question, which is about the level of interest rate. And I'm going to speak as an economist and not as a businessman. So the interest rates are set by a number of factors. And it is true that interest rates in Nigeria are high. Fact. But inflation in Nigeria is also high. So what does that mean? That means that somebody who was selling something for 5 naira last year is selling the same item now for 8 naira. So inflation is also pushing prices up. So a lot of businesses that are borrowing are finding it very difficult to service their loans because the interest rate is high. However, if you look at the top line of many of those businesses, they are growing. They're growing. People are going from, I was speaking to somebody the other day. Let me just give you an example. She rented her place to somebody for 10 million, and now this year she's getting 17. So if she borrowed money at even 30%, she's making a 70% increase in her rent. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm saying that's the reality of Nigeria. Now, what does that mean? It means that you have to borrow only when you have to. It means that you have to blend finance, less borrowing. Sometimes you need to find an equity, an investor who can share the risk with you, because you have to give up something. You either pay the interest or maybe give up some of your business to an investor who can come in and bring in money so that you don't have to borrow. But in finance, nothing goes for nothing. Something has to give, because even the people that put their money in the bank are expecting a return. So it is, I stand by what I say, that it's about an idea first, money last. Now, let me give you an example of why I'm saying idea first. There's somebody I know is in my village, my own village. He had no money. He said he wanted to start selling fish. He asked for a loan. I said, no, I'm not going to give you a loan. You go and convince the fishermen to give you credit. Collect the fish from them. Pay maybe half. When you sell and they have confidence in you, they'll give you more. And that's exactly what he did. Now he sells between our village and Ijebu-Ode. Almost every 2 weeks he's going with, and he's increased his turnover. He did not start with money. He tested the idea, because he was telling me, oh, if you give me money. I said, no, you're not going to learn on my money. You go and test to see whether this thing works. You have to test your idea, because the truth is that some ideas don't work. I've had bad ideas. I failed in many, many businesses. And I'm speaking to you from experience of, if I had my time again, I would have tested. I wouldn't have jumped into things. I had this way of jumping into things. I just start, set it all up, and then I find out it's a bad idea. Or I find out that in that industry, staff steal. Or I find out in that industry, if you're not in the business, you can't make anything. So testing your idea is very, very important. Now, the person who said he's 42, how can he get his business going? Look, if you have a smartphone, just a smartphone, do your design, put it on Instagram. You never know who's looking. I think a young lady was telling us, again, on one of our podcasts, that one person, he created a video. That video got only 27 views, 27 views. But one of the people that looked at his video was Oprah Winfrey. He ended up on Oprah Winfrey's show. His business has gone through the roof. So start where you are. Start where you can't start where you're not. You have to start where you are. And if you say, oh, until I have the money, how can I start? Okay, you said you have an idea, you want to do Patreon. Let's see. Let's see, maybe from today. Find me on Instagram. Send me a picture of what it is you do. You don't know. Money isn't everything. There's relationship capital. There's promotional capital. It's not all financial. So I think sometimes we get obsessed with, I need money. I need a sewing machine. No, you don't need a sewing machine. You need a design. Buy your fabric. Go to a tailor. Make this for me. Put it on call one of your sisters. Wear this. Snap the picture. Send it out. Start from wherever you are. Test your idea, and then you'll know whether you're really going somewhere. I hope I've helped you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's another question here. Um, Hello, I am Adefunye Abimi follower. Please, I am eager to know if Mrs. Kemi Adeosun takes mentee, as I would really love her mentorship. Thank you.
I started nidacity.com and at Nidacity on Instagram precisely because I had too many mentees. I couldn't cope with them. So I decided, okay, why don't I roll what I know into a format? So I do videos. You'll see my training videos there where I teach. You will see me interviewing people. That's the mentorship I can give. And I can do it to so many people now through digital media. So I don't do one-on-one anymore. But if you follow Nidacity, if you check our podcast every week, you'll have a podcast of people that have succeeded. You listen to them, listen to what they went through, listen to the Bishop of Real Estate who left school at 15, who was a bus conductor for 5 years and is now a billionaire. Listen to what they have to say. That's the mentoring I can give. So I can only ask you, please follow Nidacity every week. All I ask of business people is if you will spend 10 minutes a day improving your business knowledge, you will make it. 10 minutes, just 10 minutes, either watching a video or listening to a podcast or reading an article. Get inspired. There's so much good in Nigeria, and there's so many people that have done well. And what I'm doing right now is forcing them to tell us their stories. How did you do it? Teach us so that we can follow. So yes, I'm happy to be your mentor through Nidacity.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, so Mr. Edu, there's a question for you here. Beyond, okay, I'm trying to put, okay, all right. Beyond traditional bank loans and Beyond traditional bank loans, what funding options should Nigerian SMEs be exploring over the next 3 to 5 years? Then there's another one. Please, does the Bank of Industry provide financing for agricultural businesses, particularly oil palm cultivation and cocoa farming projects? This question is from Raji Ismail. I think that's I think that's all for now.
Okay.
Isedu?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So let me start from the last one. Mostly, Bank of Industry try to shy away from upstream. Upstream is the planting, cultivation, and all that. But there is a method where we use what you call the aggregator model. So the aggregator model is where, just as the name implies, you have a very big aggregator, somebody who is big enough to take maybe 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 farmers who has done that business over the years, outcome nearly predictable, very high percentage of predictability in terms of success. So those ones will come, then we will arrange the aggregators underneath them and fund such projects. That is one. The first question was about, remind me again, sorry. Oh, you are muted again. You have not.
Sorry, apologies. The second question is, does Bank of Industry provide financing for agricultural businesses, particularly oil palm cultivation
I think
and cocoa farming
I've
projects?
answered that. That was one I just answered. In terms of
Beyond,
the model we use here is agriculture aggregators, where people come so that they're able to farm in large number, but we are relying on their experience of having done something similar before and having repeated evidence or proof of success over the years. So
okay.
what
Beyond
was
traditional bank, Beyond traditional bank loans, what funding options should Nigerian SMEs be exploring over the next 3 to 5 years?
Okay. The minister again, thank you for being on this bit because you seem to have made my work very easy. Equity. Equity, as much as it's not so popular around here, but when we look at it globally, that is one of the ways that most global businesses evolved. Be willing, there is a common saying that will you rather own 100% of nothing than own maybe 10% or some percentage of something big? So we have to consider that. Then we're looking at, from BOI's perspective now, things around blended financing. We have quite a number of multilateral agencies that will partner, that we're able to source this money for them. Philanthropists, Aliko Dangote, MTN. Right now we have like a 10 billion matching arrangement with Aliko Dangote Foundation, where is a blended finance kind of that comes at a very low interest rate of about 5% all in to the last borrower. We also have what you call matching funds across the states, where a state like Lagos, for instance, come to BOI and say, look, I am interested in jumpstarting the SME ecosystem in Lagos. This is 5 billion, and match it with 5 billion from BOI. Those specifics are then made available to MSME in those locations. The same, I think we have such with almost about 19 states across Nigeria. So it's just a matter of finding which state you belong and finding what opportunity exists in those states. Then maybe from time to time we'll have federal government, though we haven't had that in recent time, but I know the last was in 2024, where we had total of 200 billion for 75 for MSME intervention, and another 75 for manufacturing intervention. Then there was a 50 billion for conditional grants. So these potpourri of financing options are available to an extent even now, because those FGN funds are actually revolving. So as people pay back, we're able to advance new funds to people. So essentially, that is what I think we should be looking at. Thank you. Then maybe if you do your business well enough, you could actually have around venture capitalists, that will look at you. But again, this is determined by how well your business is structured, how profitable is it, and what hope does it have going forward into the future. Thank you. You must be able to, I still want to draw on what the minister said before. You must be able to make those forecasts, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, to say, look what I'm expecting. Look at the numbers I did 2 years ago. Look at the numbers I did this last year. Look at the numbers I'm doing this year. So on the strength of this, look at the numbers I hope to be doing next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, so that, of course, that becomes a veritable source of attraction for funding for such businesses. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And thank you very much to all our panelists. Before we try to round off, I want to ask if the CEO has 1 or 2 things to say before we round off. CEO, sir.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, we can, sir.
So thank you so much for everything. If I wasn't here, I would never know that my sister yeah. It's always very good. And I'm going to now come to your office to come and take your account. Finally. To my friend, Mr. Edu, thank you so much for everything. And I'm sure you'll have known Nigeria more than your days in Central Bank. By far.
You can say that again.
You can be on the road. You will now know what is called Nigeria. The real pain is on the street.
Yes.
Different from banking supervision. Completely.
Honestly.
Maybe if you should take it back to banking supervision now. I'm sure it's going to be different entirely. Thank you so much, and I do appreciate. We'll have to do more of this. Again, SMEs, if we just want to grow Nigeria, is where to focus and empower people. And you see the sheer capacity that we have in Nigeria. Everywhere I go, I get amazed. The sheer capacity, the audacity that Nigerians and what they can do. It's just the normal and empowerment. I always say that you need two things: finance and infrastructure. Infrastructure, electricity, and road. Finish. Everything, leave them. They will do wonderful things. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, CEO. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
So there are quite a number of questions that we couldn't answer, but bear with us. We would answer and share with you via your emails. I mean, if we want to finish this question, we will not leave here today. I have more questions for Mrs. Adeosun and BOI. I mean, a lot of questions also, but we will not be able to tackle all these questions. So I would hand over now to Ellen Willie to give us the votes of thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jumoke, and thank you to our key speaker, and thank you, Mr. Oluwatunyedu. Distinguished guests, partners, and entrepreneurs that have joined us today, thank you for joining us for this crucial Q2 SMEConnect webinar. Thank you, MD CEO, for being a part of this. And as we conclude this quarter, we commit to the growth of small and medium enterprises. That remains absolute to us as FirstBank. We do not view financing merely as a transactional loan, but as a strategic resource to unlock your competitive advantage. We are equally grateful to our esteemed panelist, Mr. Oluwatoyin from the Bank of Industry. We are grateful for the keynote speaker, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, for our exceptional perspective on funding architecture. I've learned quite a lot today. Don't start business thinking about money. What you may need might just be an idea. Test your ideas so that you can attract funding. We're also grateful for our own Apollo Akedaunsi, Head of Credit Analysis at FirstBank, for thoroughly demystifying the lending ecosystem. Thank you all for your invaluable time and expertise. I urge every business owner present here today to transition from information that you have gotten today to execution. Do not let these insights sit dormant. Let's continue this conversation on the FirstBank SMEConnect platform. The link to the portal will be dropped in the chat room so that we can continue this conversation beyond this webinar. Use this dedicated portal to collaborate with growth experts, that are available on the portal to access tailored funding opportunities and have all your questions that we could not take at the webinar answered, at the portal, so that you can leverage collaborative tools designed to position your business for sustainable growth. Thank you all once again to our expert speakers, our partners, and to you, our business community, for your continued resilience. We wish you a highly successful and prosperous third quarter. Thank you. I hand over to you, Jumoke. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Eileen. And thank you very much again to our guest speaker and our panelists. We are glad that we called and you answer. Thank you for the advice, for the instruction, for the guidance that we have received from you today. I'm sure that our SMEs have picked one or two things to go with today, things that they are able to action immediately. Thank you very much. And to our SMEs, thank you again for joining us. Until the next edition, thank you very much and God bless. Bye.